This is the agenda. So we're just going to talk very briefly about what is this tool, do a quick demo, talk about archiving old activities. So that's going to be important if you've already been using it in the past or your teachers have. We'll talk about some important things to remember about that process. We are going to talk a little bit about the ability to print activities, which is new. I have coming soon, but I've got it on authority that it's coming very, very soon. If you want to request training, I've got links for that, and then the upcoming webinar dates. At the very end of this slideshow, I've got a list of resources with the links that will take you to these items that we talk about during the slide deck. All right, so TbC Back Classroom is an assessment application inside your LMS. That's what sets it apart and makes it different than what you may be using inside Eduphoria or Edugence. Teachers are going to access TbC Back Classroom in the LMS, such as Google Classroom, and be able to push out an activity as an assignment in the LMS that the kids are familiar with and working with every day. So it decreases the formality of the assessment, and we're hoping that it's a super kid-friendly, student-friendly experience, as well as a quick and easy tool for teachers to use. TbC Back Classroom is designed to be part of your balanced assessment framework. So if you have access to TbC Back within your DMS, you're probably using that for summative assessments and looking at more global, robust data. But for the formative piece, the assessment for learning, where it's just kind of what we call the just-in-time assessment, teachers can use TbC Back Classroom and inform their next steps in their instruction. So the two work together really nicely. All right, this slide is clickable. It is our not data dashboard, sorry, it's our content dashboard. And so while it's small and maybe blurry on your screen here, hopefully you can come back to it and click into this dashboard to see all of the content that we have within TbC Back. You can see that we are growing in kindergarten and first. Our numbers are lowest there. And in fact, they're a little higher now. This is an older screenshot, but still, that's where we have the most growth to make. And then the older grades are continuing to populate and update, be revised and improved. And we've got thousands and thousands of questions across the grade levels. Also, the subject areas are shown there. And then even though they're cut off, we've got the variety of item types. We mark Bloom's taxonomy and depth of knowledge for all of our items. So this is just a quick look in, and if you are wanting to share with somebody the value of the TbC Back content, this is a super visual way to do that. Oh, and there it goes. Let's see if I can go back here. There we go. All right, so TbC Back Classroom is based on these three pieces. We work really hard to build content with effective questions. We've got a data analysis piece that is very visual, quick and easy to use, and we give student feedback immediately, so kids aren't waiting on their tests to be graded. All of our questions are TbC aligned. That's our assurance to you, and that may be what sets us apart from some of the other formative tools out there on the web. I know teachers love some of those great things that are out there, but they're not always TbC aligned, and so we can assure you that that work has been done on our end. We also decide on item types based on the verb of the standard, and so we're working our tech enhanced items in. We do still have some multiple choice. We've got a variety of all those things, and we align them closely with the verb of the student expectation. I may have already mentioned the stages of the instructional cycle. We are providing to you some questions that would be appropriate to assess kids' early stages of instruction, intermediate stages, and then looking for mastery. And so as you're going through the TbC Back classroom content, you should be able to find a variety of levels of rigor so that you can really match where you are in the instructional cycle. And then all of our distractors or wrong answers are intentional. And so we're trying to help you pinpoint misconceptions and misunderstandings. If students choose particular distractors, we hope that that information gives you some next steps. This is our data dashboard. We love that the red, yellow, and green is so intuitive. It is a quick glance into performance, but we can also drill down into each of those items. So this particular screenshot's not interactive, but within the program, you can drill down into each individual question and each individual student's performance. This is just the broadest look here. And this is just a sample of what the student feedback looks like. So even though this student made a 43, they're receiving a positive, encouraging message with an emoji. We try to keep this very friendly. We have lots of emojis and color within the tool. And then the feedback indicates whether or not they got the answer correct, if they got partial credit, or if they got the answer wrong. It does not tell them the correct answer. So they're not leaning over to their friend, letting them know what the answers are. It just tells them how they did. This teacher is able to reassign. And so if you want to give them an opportunity for a retake, you can do that. But that's at the teacher's discretion with the settings behind the scenes. All right. And our hope, of course, is that you are able to plan with the data that you're collecting through these activities and assessments. So I've just got a really simple example of how a teacher may have put together a formative assessment for biology. Perhaps the first two questions at the bottom there were about components of DNA, and the next two were about nucleotide sequence, and then the last two were about origin of DNA. And so knowing that, and knowing that I intentionally designed the assessment, I can take a look at how the kids did overall. Of course, there are times that you want to randomize questions and that kind of thing, but in this case, we encourage you to use that intentional design so that you can interpret that data quickly and be responsive. All right, I am going to exit the slide deck for a moment and get into a quick demo. And again, this is going to be lightning fast because you likely have some familiarity already. Cian, are you still seeing the correct screen? Great.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. All right, so I've launched the tool, which is web-based. Most teachers are just going to bookmark it probably. And once they get in, you can see the mastery chart data at the top. This would be the last 9 weeks of data for my class and how they've done on each of the objectives that I have assessed. To build a new activity, I'm going to go up to the top right and give a title. Everything in the top 3 fields here are at the teacher's discretion. So how the teacher titles it, writes a description, and chooses an activity type are just about how he or she wants to organize their activities. Choosing an activity type does not change a template or anything. So once a teacher gets in and starts building a lot of activities, he or she may want to call them different activity types. Or they may call everything homework. And again, it's not going to change anything about the output there. And then where they're going to get selective is by choosing the content subject. I'm going to go into math. And we'll take a look at 3rd grade math. There are over 3,200 items there. K through 5, we do have English and Spanish. Spanish lags behind just a little bit. Because we work so hard on our translations and transadaptions. We have native speakers going in and making those for us. And so we're always working on translations, K through 5. I'm going to stick with English, and then I'm going to choose the standards. So just for the sake of time, I'm going to choose the first 3 standards, but a teacher can scroll through and identify up to 20 standards in an activity. if they choose to. Typically, they're using just a few for an exit ticket or a formative assessment, but that limitation has been increased recently, and so they can choose up to 20 standards if they want to take a look at that many. I'm going to select 3 for now. And then I'm going to tell the wizard that I just want to see 3 of each standard for now. And so by putting in quantity, I'm telling it, build me an assessment with 3 items for this standard, 3 for this, 3 for this. And I can still go in and make changes. As I scroll down to the bottom to question preferences, this is where you'll see all of our item types. And so for these particular standards that I chose in 3rd grade math, we've got these 3 item types, and they default to be all selected. If I wanted to choose them one by one, I can toggle them on or off, depending on, where we are in our instruction or what my kids are ready for. And I'm going to preview. So it's going to show me 9 items. I'm scrolling along the left-hand side here to preview each of the 9 items, see if they're in line with what I need for this formative assessment. If I come across something that I am not happy with and don't want to include, I'm just going to select it and click the trash can to remove it. So now I'm going from 9 to 8. And again, at this point, I'm not really reading and previewing. We do, of course, encourage our teachers to read and preview carefully when making selections. I'm really going quickly here. If you don't want to eliminate the item altogether, but you want to swap it out for another one on that same standard, that's what these arrows are for here. And so I'm going to click swap. And this is going to take me to other items in that same standard. And I can preview them and choose them and put them back into the assessment. So I'm looking here at this one. I'll select it. And then it puts it back in the place. So again, I'm going to preview quickly and make sure that these look like I need them to. I have the opportunity to drag and drop and reorder. So if you wanted to reorder based on standard, excuse me, or you wanted to reorder based on DOK, you can drag and drop to do that. So you can make a lot of customizations, even though the wizard will populate the items for you. Okay, student preview looks like this. Very similar to the Cambium student experience. Kids are able to click to different items. They can flag. This button right here is only available in the teacher view, and this is where you would give us feedback. So if you come across something that's got a spelling error, is not aligned correctly, or the wrong answer is chosen, send us that feedback and we can be super responsive. We get it by email, and we can usually change it in just a matter of minutes, and you will see it update live in TbC Classroom. All right, I'm going to confirm and create this activity. This information at the end is for our purposes to let us know how you're using. And then this is where we're going to push it out through the LMS. All right. And so at this point, you would choose your LMS and push it out. If you have not done that before, the instructions come up and lead you through the process. I'm going to continue to the activity page here. And then this is our empty data dashboard where the data will start to accumulate as students are interacting with that activity. This is in my slide deck in a moment, but since I'm in this screen, I wanted to point out this print activity button. So as you know, occasionally, even with digital assessments, we may need to print. And so we are really close to being able to enable this print activity button. It will prompt you to choose a font. It's going to remind you that not all item types are compatible with printing. A lot of that is still in development. and then we'll generate the PDF. Okay, and so this is an example of what the PDF generation would look like. Multiple choice works exactly like you would think it would. It does make a few changes to some of the other item types. I don't have any here, unfortunately, to show you. But you can imagine that they have to be adapted a little bit to be printable. And so this is coming very soon. It has been one of our most requested features, and we're excited to finally say it's going to be active and live. Any other questions I can answer about that?
That feature where it's grading it and the kids are able to go back and, I mean, actually see it, it's like instant, and that's so much what our kids. I know when I was in the classroom, the kids were like, they wanted that immediate feedback. And I think it's even more so today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, who doesn't want to know, right? We complete an assessment of some sort and send it in when we want to know how we did. That wait time is killer. And sometimes you wait so long that you lose your investment in it. And so that's important to us as well. I'm glad to hear that. Okay. All right, so I mentioned archiving activities. If you've got teachers that have been using this tool, last school year, you're getting ready to start a new school year, you have the option to archive those older activities. I've got the directions here. We also have help documents. I can also send emails and get on a Zoom to walk you through it, but it's pretty simple. On that main page where we were seeing the mastery data and the activities, you'll click settings, choose archive, and then it'll ask you to confirm. Okay. And so when you're archiving your activities, it is hiding everything that was on that feed down below. So if you had a teacher that was very active using TbC Back Classroom last year, they may have 40, 50, 100 activities, and they scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll to get to the bottom of that list. So they may just want to hide that from view, and that's what archiving will do. Now, if they want to keep any of those activities in the sense that they'd like to use it again or pull it back up and just edit it for this year, they can do that. Each activity's got an activity ID number. And so they would click into that activity and jot down the activity ID number. I think this is intuitive once you're in there. And like I said, we've got plenty of help documents and things to support you along the way. But we want people to know that we know that list gets very, very long, and you do have the opportunity to archive those and start fresh. It will also clear out your old mastery data so that you're not mixing your new groups with your old groups. All right, here's the print activities slide. So again, it is not enabled for everyone yet, but we're just waiting for Word. It should be any time now. Our developers know how important it is to us, and so they're in final stages there. And it's just a matter of clicking the print activity button and following the steps. And it looks very worksheety, and kids are able to complete it with paper and pencil. Teachers will have to grade it by hand, of course. You won't be collecting your data like you would on the other activities, but sometimes this is necessary, and we understand that. All right, focus assessments. This is not new, but not everybody knows about it. So our RLA teachers often want to create passage-based activities, and they don't want to assess every standard associated with that passage. They want to assess 1 or 2 standards per passage. And so we have put together a way to identify passages within TbC Back Classroom, the standards they're associated with, and made at least 5 questions that will allow them to assess those standards. So I've got a screenshot here of a spreadsheet that is kind of the I want to say the cheat codes. It's not really a cheat code, but this is kind of the map to identifying passages within the tool, the standards that you can assess, the genres and such. And so that link there, focus.teacsbank.com, is going to be super valuable to your RLA teachers. Let them know that they can put together a passage-based assessment with maybe just 5 questions on 1 or 2 standards. And this is where we see some of the most excitement when we're presenting live, because as RLA teachers often have to do very lengthy assessments with questions on multiple standards, and they like to avoid that if possible. All right. That's everything on my agenda. But if you need training for your teachers and not just the super, super fast version that we're doing today, contact us. We are always excited to get on a Zoom or even come out in person within Region 10 to work with you guys in person and walk people through formative assessment, intentional design, using the tool effectively. Then we also have an FAQ section with help docs. And so we've got lots of online support. But again, I mean, sometimes just talking to somebody on the phone or on a quick Zoom is the most effective, and we are happy to support that way. So if you've got the slide deck, you're able to share those links. And I am just trying to get to our contact info. This is the page of resources that I mentioned, everything that we talked about. Here's the e-course that walks you through step by step, all the bells and whistles. This is the content dashboard with all of those visuals of what we've got within the bank. The focus assessments link is here too, training requests and so on. So you've got multiple places that you can access those. And then upcoming webinars. Let your people know, I want these to be 30 minutes or less, unless we go longer because of questions. I'm happy to do that, but I don't want you to ever feel like this is going to take too much of your time. And then we record them and send them out by email as well. So we've got just about quarterly, I believe, these dates scheduled. We try not to conflict with holidays and STAR testing and those kinds of things, but if we need to reschedule something that was previously posted, we'll do that through social media and send emails to any registrants and so on. As you know, it's hard to plan this far in advance, but we like to get something on the calendar so that you know that support is on the way. All right, now I think we're here. This is our team, we're growing. We have added, like I said, we added Cian just in recent weeks, and Joshua just started this week. We do TeacsBank all day, every day. And so email us, call us, reach out to our help desk. We are, the favorite part of our job is to work with teachers. We are all former classroom teachers, and so that keeps us really connected. We don't want anyone to be shy about reaching out with questions for that. So I wish you a really smooth start to school. And please let us know if there's anything that we can do to support you. We are excited to see how things go this year.